Hi, my name is Tyra Baker, and I'm a Study Abroad Outreach Ambassador here at the IUPUI Study Abroad Office. I'm super excited to be able to provide you this Study Abroad 101 presentation where you're able to learn more about how to make study abroad an opportunity for you. A little bit about me. I am a recent graduate from IUPUI. I got my Bachelor of Arts in Psychology, and now I'm attending Indiana University where I'm working on my master's degree in International and Comparative Education. I have a huge passion for the international education experience, especially after I studied abroad last summer in South Korea for 7 weeks. That solidified everything that I wanted to do, and I want to pass on this passion and this knowledge and this potential experience for anybody and everyone who's wanting experience in going abroad. So now let's get into the Study Abroad 101 presentation. Let's go. So we want to make sure that you understand that we do recognize at this current moment that it's going to be very challenging for many people navigating these consequences of COVID-19. The illness, job loss, social isolation, and daily decision making are very taxing, and they do impact our lives and our emotional well-being. We are members of the campus community, and we are compelled to take up the fight against racial injustice and systematic racism that is also happening simultaneously as COVID-19. And we do realize that studying abroad may be the last thing on your mind as you go through these current challenges. We do want to encourage the creative problem solving that is occurring around studying abroad. We do have a lot to learn from these communities around the world who are being faced with these problems and how they are developing strategies to overcome them. So we do recognize as well that we all need to understand people are different from us and have different cultures, different lifestyles, and so on. So when you study abroad, you build these bridges around the world, and when you make these friends in other countries, these places do become very real for you, and the concerns of those countries become your concerns. And you become more aware of the diversity in that community as well as your own. So dismantling stereotypes, biases while you're abroad help you do this while you are here domestically in the country, and they do take the steps to help build a more peaceful world. This is a very important thing to take note of, is that the university has not made a decision regarding when study abroad can resume. There are many factors and resources that will be considered in this decision. The university will consult ongoing information available from local, national, and international sources when determining the restart of university-approved international travel. We anticipate a decision about spring semester 2021 travel by October 1st, 2020. So let's take note of that. We don't even know for sure what the outcome will be by October 1st, but do keep in mind that this is something that, regardless of the situation that's happening in the world, studying abroad can still impact your future. So this presentation is to guide you into how to plan for a potential study abroad. And we hope that things will resume, but until October 1st, we are very unsure. Let's begin with the question, what exactly is study abroad? So studying abroad is an academic experience in another country, and this is done through classes, internships, or even service learning opportunities. So to explain what a service learning opportunity is, it's where you are able to go into another country, and I wouldn't necessarily say volunteer work, but you're able to get more hands-on with the local communities, and you can help out with a variety of different tasks that are there. Some service learning opportunities may be, like, for example, the dental school has service learning opportunities where you go into, I believe, the Dominican Republic, and you're able to work alongside the dentist there. So that's a service learning opportunity where you can get to be a little bit more hands-on in that type of situation. We went from answering the question, what is studying abroad to now discussing what does studying abroad entail exactly. So to summarize studying abroad and what encompasses it, it's learning from living and engaging in the host community's culture, and that could be done through a variety of means. Like I said, there's the courses, internships, and then there's service learning opportunities, but then you take it a step farther, and that could be from going out shopping, ordering food, using public transportation, getting involved with your program directors and finding out what they do while they're in the host community, things like that, different ways to pull yourself and really get into that culture. You build relationships, and this is with your peers. If you are taking classes with other students at your host campus, if you're taking courses at a host campus, you might be able to make relationships with those other students there, whether they're your peers or other international students or domestic students there. You build relationships with the program directors, and you even build a relationship with yourself and understanding how you fit into a international dimension. You understand different perspectives that help you think critically. And lastly, you challenge yourself and you become a global citizen. Now here comes the very, very important question. Why should you study abroad? You should study abroad because this gives you the ability to experience the world. And this is done by gaining a better understanding of another culture, another language, your home country, and yourself. And I want to mention when it comes down to gaining a better understanding of another language, that's not something that necessarily has to happen. There are options for studying abroad in countries where English is the native language, like the first language. And even if you do go to another country where English is the first language, such as England, you will be challenged into understanding their dialect of English, because that will be something that's completely new for you, and the different ways that they say different words will definitely be challenging. So they are ways that you will have to prepare yourself for, even different dialects of your native language. And even if you decide to go to a non-English speaking country, that helps you figure out ways to pick up on a second language or figure out ways to understand a new language. So there's lots of different things that can come out of this. And when it comes to getting a better understanding of your home country, this is just your respected home country. And there's different histories and different stories and different events that look different in other countries that have your home country involved that you never really get to have insight on if you were in your home country learning about the exact same event. So it gets a better dual experience of your home country and your home country's viewpoint and the host country's viewpoint. And you do get a better understanding of yourself. You become a lot more independent. You become a lot more self-sufficient. You feel a lot better at times about figuring out how to navigate yourself, because you really are the one person you know the best there, and you get to really discover a lot about how you fit into a new culture, a new country, and that can be very empowering once you feel really good about it. And also, this is a great chance to build your resume, to increase skills and sell your experience that you can be able to adapt and be successful in other cultures, whether it's actually another culture from being in another country or work culture and so on. This is a great way to show that you have the abilities to be a great worker in different environments. And college is the best time to travel abroad because the experiences and excursions that are included in your study abroad program would be way more expensive and pricier for you to do if you did them by yourself. I am a firm believer on this. The things that I did while I was in Korea within my first week, there's no way I would have been able to know half of those things to see and visit and have half of those experiences if it weren't for my program directors including these excursions into the program. So now it's time to break down some common myths. The first one is, it's for language majors only. This is not an ounce true at all. I do not want you to believe that your major is going to prevent you from studying abroad. It's not. Any major can go study abroad. I mentioned at the beginning of this that I got my undergrad in psychology. I didn't study abroad to achieve any type of credit towards my major. I studied abroad for two reasons. One, I wanted to finally get engaged with Korean culture and language by being in that country to help me know that I can do second language acquisition and to finally go to a place I've always wanted to go to. The second reason why I studied abroad was that way I can get my integration in Korean language and culture and get it for credit to be applied to my minors of international studies and culture diversity. So there's different ways that you can actually make studying abroad work into your academic plan, and that could be for your major, any credits for your major, any credits for a minor or minors that you may have, credits for a certificate that you may want to get, or even for elective courses. Studying abroad is a very flexible type of situation when it comes to receiving credit towards graduation completion. Myth number 2, you need to speak the native language. As I mentioned in the previous slide, knowing or learning a native language is not needed unless it's a prereq for your program. The semester abroad that IUPUI has that goes to Japan does have a prerequisite for knowing a certain level of Japanese prior to going to Japan. In my case, when I went to Korea, I've been teaching myself Korean for the past 5-6 years now, so I did this just because I wanted to learn the language, and going there, it helped me be able to navigate myself around Seoul a lot better and a lot more confidently. I would say if you're going to a country where English is not the native language, that you look up and do some research on basic phrases that are used there for hello, goodbye, thank you, you're welcome, no, yes, phrases that help you with directions. And if you're going to an English-speaking country, I would just pick up as well on some phrases that may be different just due to dialect, such as like with England, for the elevator, they say the lift, truck is a lorry, and things like that. So different things to prepare yourself for the type of dialoguing and communication that you'll need to engage in while you're there with the community. Myth number 3, you won't graduate on time. This is not true at all. This is why there are different terms available that allow study abroad opportunities to fit into your academic plan. So at IUPUI, we have fall semesters, spring semesters, we have winter breaks, a spring break, there's summer as well. IU has academic year programs that are offered as well, and you can do that if that's something that you want to do, and you'll be able to get credit for your major as well within that if that fits best for you. So there's different ways to make things work. For me, because I switched my major my sophomore year, I was not able to study abroad in a semester that I would have liked to. So that's why I studied abroad in between my junior and senior year last summer. So that way I could still study abroad in a timeline that provided me the ability to graduate on time. Myth number 4, it's too expensive. Not gonna lie, studying abroad is an expensive experience to go on. However, like I said before, the excursions and experiences that you get within the program are a lot cheaper than if you did them by yourself. And also there are things to look into, such as scholarships that are available for you from your respected schools that your majors are in, and as well from the Study Abroad Office. Alright, who doesn't like plenty of options when it comes to studying abroad? Here at IUPUI, we have over 80 programs available to you. Most of them are short-term programs, and what that means is that a majority of the programs at IUPUI are going to be summer and spring break. The summer breaks at IUPUI are about 3 to 4 weeks long, then you look at IU, which has over 100 study abroad opportunities. IU has more of those long-term programs, such as the semesters and the academic years, and their summer programs are longer, and they go to about 7 to 8 weeks. Then you're looking at other IU campuses, and they're a little bit more on the short-term side, and there's over 30 available from other IU campuses. But then if you look outside of the IU realm of study abroad, there are thousands available. I did a non-IU program, which means I did one of these outside programs, and that's just because it worked better in my academic plan. But basically, my study abroad program was the summer version of the program that's available at IU. So I made it work, and I knew it was going to be an okay program since it was offered as a long-term opportunity at IU through a partnership. I know that that is a lot of information to take in. Everything that I just gave to you is a lot. And I understand if you're feeling overwhelmed, because when I first started looking into studying abroad, I was really overwhelmed too. I started looking into studying abroad my freshman year, even before that. Like as soon as I was a senior in high school, I was looking into studying abroad, and there's a lot to take in before finally getting to my end goal. So here's some things to consider that will help you along this journey. Eligibility requirements. Some programs will want you to be in a certain GPA level. Some may want you to have like those language prerequisites. If you look into IU Bloomington programs, most of them want you to be entering your sophomore year for study abroad opportunities to even be considered for it. So there's that to look into. The location, where is the study abroad program that you're wanting to go on? Like where do you want to go? If the location where you are aiming to go is at a level 3 travel advisory from the US State Department, we will not let you go because a level 3 is a bit unsafe for students to go into. So we will want to make sure that you are in an approved safe location to maximize your experience. Length. How long would you like to be abroad? As I mentioned, there's super short-term programs like a spring break to super long programs like an academic year. So there are different things that you can consider into what will work best for you. What are your personal goals for studying abroad? As I mentioned, like for me going abroad to Korea, it was to finally put what I knew about Korean culture into place and to challenge me. I wanted to really see how much of Korean I knew, how I could adjust to being in Korea and actually experiencing that culture because it's something that I want to work with. And that was my personal goal, and I achieved that. So make a list of things that you want to achieve during your program. How involved do you want to be with local students? For me, since my program was at a university called Yonsei University, and it was during their international summer school session, I didn't really have a lot of courses with local Korean students, but I had a lot of courses with international students. In my Korean language class, I had a student from Saudi Arabia, I had another student from Germany, and then a lot of us were from the US. So you get to have a lot of different diversity within that, but if you do different programs, you might be a lot more involved with local students, if that's something that you're aiming for. What courses are available? This is important, as I mentioned, that if you're wanting to get credit for your major, minor, certificate, or even electives, you need to see what courses are being offered and how that would come back to your academic plan for credit. And then accommodation, where you're going to stay. Some places will have you stay at a hotel, some will have you stay with a host family, some might want you to find your own housing, or even stay at a dorm. For my study abroad program, we stayed at a dorm that's on the campus at Yonsei University, so that's how I stayed, and that's not the same for everybody. And lastly, your identities that you have. Depending on what country you go into, it's really important to consider what your gender is, what your race is, what your ethnicity is, what your sexual orientation is, religion, and how those would overlap, because depending on where you go, Some countries may look at those identities a little differently than what you're used to, so it's best to prepare yourself for what could potentially happen and how to make sure that you still have a good time. It's time to talk some money. There are scholarships available from the Study Abroad Office and from the school that your major is in. There is one study abroad scholarship I really want to highlight for you and really push that you apply for this. It's called the Planning Scholarship. It's only available to freshmen, and if you are awarded the Planning Scholarship, you do receive $3,000. And this is $3,000 for any study abroad program of your choice. And this is something that I like to say gets placed in a savings account for you, because you have up until your junior year at IUPUI to use that $3,000 on any study abroad program. And let me tell you, this is a really amazing opportunity because some of the spring break programs are only about $2,000, maybe $3,000. So that can take care of your entire program cost. Or even for like the short-term summer breaks that IUPUI has, that could take care of a good chunk of the program cost as well. So this is something that you should really look into because it will be a tremendous help when it comes to paying for studying abroad. Also, if you are a 21st century scholar, you can use your scholarship towards studying abroad for a semester. You would need to talk more with the 21st Century Scholar Office to get that worked out for you, but it is now part of your Scholar Success Program plan. So this is something that you can use to achieve a component of that plan, as well as paying for studying abroad. So I highly suggest that you look into that if you are a 21st Century Scholar, because this is something that you do not want to miss out on. You can also use financial aid towards paying for studying abroad. To learn more about how to use financial aid for studying abroad funding, please use the email address listed on this slide, which is aid2go@iupui.edu. They'll be able to help you with that splitting of your financial aid and help answer any of your questions that you may have on this matter. There are some fun things to know about how to get international experience at IUPUI. There are international organizations such as International Club, also known as iClub. Then there's International House, also known as iHouse. And for iHouse, I am the International Program Coordinator. So I work very closely with iHouse and the programming that will be going on this year with the International House. So if you have any questions about potentially getting involved with that, you can feel free to reach out to me. And then there's also the International Peer Mentor Program, which is a scholarship-based program where you get to be mentors towards international students that are coming into IUPUI, and you get to build a nice relationship with them and get to learn about their culture and their experiences in their home countries while also helping them get adjusted to the US. There are courses available that you can take, such as international studies, there's the language courses, international news gathering, and so many other courses that are available that can help you gain international experience and also multicultural experiences. And then there's also global dialogues available. Studying abroad can look like a bunch of different things. There's not one type of cookie cutter type of studying abroad experience. Every person, even in the same program, has something unique to their experience. I want to talk to you about what I did experience in South Korea. These are just 4 memories out of thousands that I made during my time there. So the first photo happened in the week-long excursion that occurred before school started, a week before school started. And this is after a 2-hour-long train ride from Seoul to Gangneung, and Gangneung is a city on the east side of Korea. And this is the Olympic Curling Center there. So we got there and we got to watch the Olympic curlers practice, and then we got to participate and get coached by the Olympic curling coaches and got to play a couple rounds of curling. Curling's super fun. I realized that I enjoyed it as an activity, And me and my friend in the black sweatshirt kind of joked around about, oh my god, like what if, like when we get back home, like what if we started our own curling teams? And just because we were super hyped in the moment and really enjoyed it. It was a really fun game. We won a few, lost a few as well. A few of us fell, me included. And it was just a really fun time. Like, I really loved that. That set a good tone for how my experience was going to start. The next photo is with the band called Jungkook Band, and they are a couple who play music together, and they do more like indie, softer music. They have made a lot of original soundtracks for a few K-dramas, and this was taken after Jungkook Band and another band that was performing We Go put on this private concert that my program directors put together for us to go attend during the school year as school type of like excursions that happen just specifically during the school year, the summer session for the school. And this is after the concert, and I really, really liked them because when me and my friend sat in the front row, they were super engaging with us. The female there, she talked to me a little bit, like in between the breaks of their songs, and I thought she was super awesome because of that. And in this photo, why we were so cheesy is because on the back of my phone case, there is a photo of my favorite member of the K-pop group called BTS, and the guy was teasing me about it. He was like pointing out it and making fun of me for having it, and it was really cracking me up. So that's why this photo is so genuine, and like the smiles is because like we were actually having a good time. And even if they don't remember me, I will always remember them because this is just something that really stood out to me and made me feel very comfortable with being in Korea, and I thought this was the coolest thing. Down below it is from the Gamcheon Cultural Village, and this is in Busan, and Busan is an international port city in South Korea, and it's super pretty there, and the air is super clean. You have a nice smell of salt from the ocean there, and it's less busy and packed versus Seoul, which is constantly like ongoing, like it doesn't really seem to stop. Busan was a nice weekend trip for me and my friend Daisy when we went to go visit there. So the Gamcheon Cultural Village is a colorful labyrinth on the top of this mountain in Busan, and there's some activities that you can do there. They have a scavenger hunt where you can go find different locations and mark it off on the map, and you could have like little postcards after you complete so many stations, like so many things that you found. And then there's so many cool photo opportunities with different murals that are there, and there's also lots of cafes and lots of cute little shops. So there's lots of things to do while you're hiking down this mountain pretty much. It's really cool, and this is something that I want to go back to because I know I didn't even see all of it. And my friend Daisy and I spent probably half a day there, a good maybe 4 to 5 hours, and we didn't even get to touch all of it. So that's something that I'm looking forward to seeing again once I'm able to go back. The last photo is taken on the way up to the demilitarized zone, which is on the border of North and South Korea, and this is also called the DMZ. And on the way up there, we learned a lot about the different protections that are set in place in case North Korea were to invade via interstate. There's these barbed wire fences that are layered on the other side of the interstate coming from the DMZ back to Seoul. And this is to prevent the any North Koreans that were trying to swim in that river pictured there and try to get onto the interstate. It prevents them from doing so. There's lots of post sites where you can see South Korean soldiers with bayonets, and you can also see these large cylinder blocks that look like just like advertisement postings, but we found out that they are these huge cylinder blocks that are posted up, and what's holding them up, the post, if North Korea were to invade via tank, they would blow away those support systems for these blocks, and these cylinder blocks would fall into the interstate to prevent North Korea tanks from getting into Seoul. And then there's a city called Ilsan, which is in between Seoul and the DMZ, and Ilsan is the first defense. So if North Korea were to invade Ilsan, we get the first attack, and that's to prevent Seoul from getting attacked, because Seoul's the capital, the main city of South Korea. And even if the people of Ilsan don't want to be the first defense, they unfortunately are. And there's these other mountains on the way up there that give South Korea the advantage of having control of the higher ground as well. And what you see in that photo, you do see the barbed wire fences, you see the water of the river. But in the very far back, those mountains, that belongs to North Korea. So the entire time, about the last, maybe like 20 minutes into our ride up to the DMZ from Seoul, you start to see North Korea very vividly. And then you get up to the DMZ, there's a lot of security there, lots of things that I never expected, and it put me in my place. It put me in my place very quickly about how serious of a matter this is, because when you learn about it in the US, it's like, oh, they have the DMZ, this is a very serious situation, but nothing prepares you for what actually happens while you're there. You need to have like your passport on you in case they wanted to check identification. You can't take your phone into certain places. If you do, they'll confiscate it and make you delete any photos. There's so much that happens. Like on the way up there, there's lines on the side of the road where the grass and everything is that have a red flag and a skull and crossbones, letting you know that there's some serious danger in the forest there, because there's probably landmines there, and because they can't track the landmines, they don't know how many are active, how many aren't active, and they don't want anybody to take the risk. And we went down to a tunnel. It's called the third tunnel, and it's a tunnel that's pretty much like split in two. And what I mean by is that the first half that we went down to get into the third tunnel is the tunnel that's created by South Korea to allow access to see the third tunnel. And then once you get to the bottom, you're met with this type of like cave-like environment where you can tell that there was dynamite used to create a makeshift tunnel. And that's what North Korea did. They would use to dig underground and try to get into South Korea using makeshift tunnels. And at the end of the tunnel, that's pretty much held in place by metal scaffolding in case it were to collapse, because it's a little unstable. You are met with a metal wall. And this metal wall is the last of these barriers that are down there in case North Korea were to invade underneath the ground again to use this tunnel. There's 3 metal barriers that are up, and this is the last one. They're about a mile apart, so it's a 3-mile long tunnel to the North Korean side of it, and those tunnels are in place to prevent North Korea from invading. As soon as I saw that, I was like, this is enough for me, and I went back up, made my journey back up to surface level, and it made me realize how serious the North and Korean tension was, and how this ongoing war between the two is very serious. And even as someone who realized the severity of it, I will never be able to grasp the impact that has had on the culture, and it made me understand a little bit more about the push for the reunion and why there's certain things going on, like why there's a military responsibility for all men to serve about 18 months in the military, and it becomes such a normal thing for them that they don't even think about it. And to me, I would never be able to do that, but then again, that's from my viewpoint as someone who never grew up with that. So it helped me build a lot more empathy and understanding towards the culture, and I would say that's the biggest culture shock I had during my time abroad. I provided this quote, "One's destination is never a place, but a new way of seeing things," by Henry Miller, because I wanted to emphasize that studying abroad is not just about where you go, but it's about what you do, what you see, and how you interact with it. Collectively, that makes your study abroad experience. You can go to a place that's brand new and not really get much out of it. You can see new things, but it doesn't have to mean anything. But when you study abroad, everything that happens really comes together. And the picture here is of my Korean language class. They were amazing. I really do miss them, and I miss my teachers very much. We all got very close. We met Monday to Thursday for about 3 hours for 7 weeks, and we got really close, and they were a really cool bunch. And with that, I want to tell you it's time to start your journey. I highly encourage you to visit us online. These are the following social media platforms that we are available on. We have a brand new Instagram, which is at IUPUI Study Abroad. YouTube is also at the same @ Twitter is at IUPUI Abroad, and Facebook is also at IUPUI Study Abroad. Check us out on these social media platforms for updates, fun postings, and ways that you can get involved and engaged with the Study Abroad Office. If you have any questions or just want to see what's going on, I highly suggest checking us out and giving us a follow and building that relationship with us via social media. Thank you so much for watching this presentation. I hope that it was very informative about how to get your study abroad experience started, or at least beginning to think about it. As mentioned before, with the current world situation, studying abroad is something that's a little bit harder to know where it will go and when it will begin again, but there's nothing wrong with navigating and looking into potential futures with studying abroad. Don't hesitate to reach out to us. I suggest that you call us at 317-274-2081, email us at abroad@iupui.edu, or check out our website at abroad.iupui.edu. Currently, our office is closed, but we will look forward and will really love to have these conversations and to help you out plan your studying abroad opportunities by reaching out to us via call or email. I hope you all have a great day and a great academic year. Thank you for watching.